Hello, everyone. This is Zan Philosopher with another edition of Politics 101. And today, we're continuing this series on what are the issues, and I'm going to be all the issues that will arise or have arisen in the presidential race of 2016. And today's topic is the minimum wage. Minimum wage, because the of course, you will hear that a lot of talk of the minimum wage, especially in the Democratic primary, when Bernie Sanders is a proponent of minimum wage and uh, of minimum wage increases. So, um, the the arg- there are two competing views regarding minimum wage. One is um, of course, a centralized approach, meaning the government sets the minimum wage and also market based. The other is a market based approach where the market is the one that decides the wage. Now, um, the centralized approach, the minimum wage, um, is quite obvious. It's pretty straightforward. Basically, it said that the the government should set a minimum wage, and it should a minimum wage that is fair, um, for workers to earn. The reason being is that work the average worker should have a decent, fair, um, what you call a living wage. Mean a, a wage that can support them. Um, they can live off because they can cover the rising um cost of living, especially here in California. Uh, the cost of living has gone high, so proponents of the hiking the minimum wage say that in order for uh, that that to keep up with the cost, because wages have remained stagnant in the past months, that they should be a minimum wage hike. Um, and the current proposal is $15 an hour. They should be, so that work people in the middle class are not stuck below the poverty level, and that they can be able to um, uh, afford the day-to-day expenses of food, housing, at everything that an adult has to cover. These costs are very add up. The cost of food is going up. The housing is going up. So uh, the the salaries or wages of workers should go up as well. It should um um um, um to help the mo the, the target is to help the the needy workers, the poor, the low class workers who are hit the most with the rising cost of living. Now, the argument and the other side is that minimum wage um, laws are bad idea to begin with. Um, the the mark it should be um, governed by the market, and the reason being, uh, anyone who has taken a economics class will understand what I'm about to say. All right, all right. There are two curves um, um, in the basic model, in the demand curve and the supply curve, and they both um, the point of equilibrium is where two people agree to exchange a good for a certain price. So there's the the y-axis, which is the price, and then the x-axis, which is the good, the number of good, or the good provided, or this right. So, or the units provide. All right. So um um so when you introduce any kind of um like of a wage, minimum wage, you create a floor, meaning you um you create a floor, and what happens is that the s- the s- the supply curve and the demand curve ship upward, meaning um 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 basically um what it means is that the 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 demand for labor is is goes down. Why? Because the cost the cost of labor has gone up more than employers have agreed to are willing to pay. So um, what happens is the supply increases, the supply of labor increases while the demand of labor decreases, which means it creates an excess of labor. So what that means is that basically, the nut in the nutshell, basic economics is that in, setting price floors of minimum wage increases creates excess of labor, or unemployment. Excess of labor. Uh, so, uh, those who are hit the hardest are people who do not have skills, like do not are low skills, and people that employers don't necessarily need, but but they are employed because they're the the price is low enough so they can be employed. But now that that price has been raised or by the government, they they're not willing um to pay that increase in labor, that willing to take on that rising labor costs, and it creates an excess of workers who are looking for jobs. Um, and then um, the right approach uh, would be to let the market uh, actually um, cre- um, take out the the minimum wage and let the market decide, and uh, and mm, mm, better yet, take everything that is a burden on the labor cost of an employer, um, whether it's mandatory paid leave or or payroll taxes, because one of the biggest expenses of any employer is payroll. Is They have to pay their employees. So when you add up um, the taxes, when you add up the benefits, and you add up the number of hours, it, it could be a huge, huge expense in um, in the income sheet, in the income statement, and um um so um adding uh, um pushing those labor costs up greater, uh, would certainly have an effect on on the amount of net income that employer makes. So any changes in payroll is have a dramatic effect on the business, on employers' bottom line. So let let the employers make set their own wages, and actually and take away all those uh, costs on labor, and actually the price of the wages will increase. Why? Because employers don't have so many burdens on them when it comes to payroll. So now they can use that encumbrance to raise the 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 wages on their own. I mean, look at Hobby Lobby. They give them all their employees enjoy beyond or wages that are above minimum wage, and the other. So companies are not greedy greedy by nature, as many people point out to be. They just want to conserve save costs. So um, the the best way is to let the market work these costs out, not let and don't try to use a centralized approach to everything, include especially when it comes to labor, and that is the basic arguments, both the second centralized approach and market driven approach.